very nice to be here. It's a very good thing that Adrian set up. I spent all my English cartridges in chatting with Kitty in the car for the last 2 hours. So I think I will last more than 1 hour, and then my English will go down, 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 down. It happens at the end of the day always. So I hope to resist for a couple of hours more. So I will show you how I work with my new technology, mapping. I've been mapping for 10 years now. And the last 2-3 years have been so exciting because I learned so many new things, and now I completely changed the way of mapping. And I show you how I work. Summary of the night. I have a lot of things to tell you. I don't know. I have no idea how long it will take to tell everything, but we will see. Goal of the presentation. Then I show you my gear. Pros of mapping with GPS and tablet against the old paper and Mylar. I show you the choice of the tablets, operating system, screen, style, software, GPS, all those things. And very important for my job now is base maps and georeferencing. Without good base maps and without good georeferencing, all this tablet thing it will not work. Then I want to spend some words on the north. It's something that I learned not more than 3 years ago. I think I was wrong before that. There are 3 nodes. So if you don't know about that, I will tell you. Some words about LiDAR, this new technology for having very, very good base maps, mostly contours, but not just contours. And also some other tools that I use to find the imagery or to photo pictures from above from the web. That's what I want to show you. So why are you here, and what will you get? Many people here, I'm sure with different backgrounds and different mapping abilities. Maybe someone knows more than me, and someone has never mapped and will struggle with everything I will tell. I mean, try to have patience and try to bring from what I say, from my experience, what's best for your background and for your level. A lot of things maybe you won't understand, but I'll try to make it not funny, but interesting at least. Another thing, it's not easy to do what I explain you here. Even if you understand everything, it's not easy that you tomorrow will do it by yourself. So I don't want to disappoint you, but it's been a very long process for me to build all this. And apart from that, it's the software and hardware that maybe you're missing. You can do exactly the same things I'm doing because you don't have the same software and you don't have the same hardware. And to find it, maybe it's not that easy. But anyway, what I want to give you is my experience and just bring some useful hints. Maybe something that I will tell you will help you to do something better in your mapping or to understand better how things work for your competition sites, so as a competitor. Also, I explain how I work, can give you ideas to buy your own tablet or your own GPS. Maybe can be different from mine, but it's the general idea. So, my gear now is from tablet and GPS, but it's not always been like that. 10-year quest for better solutions. So I started 10 years ago, and all these 10 years, I tried to improve something. I did some nice pictures this winter, realizing how much things are changing in my life in the job. And so I took some pictures of the stuff I used when I started and arriving till now. I'll show you because I think it's interesting. So the first mapping setup was the usual old paper with the base map printed, the Mylar sheet, everything taped on the board. You go outside in the forest with some pencil, color pencil. This is I use blue, green, and red. Just three, too many otherwise. Compass. What happens next? You scan everything to the scan with the scanner, bring it to the computer, and with your software. Well, I will talk mainly about OCAD. You just copy what you've done with the pencil. You copy it on the computer. The first technology aid was this small GPS. So sometimes I just walk around when I was so stressed about writing. For easy things, maybe a big path, I just walked around the path with the GPS, recording the track, and then home, I imported that into OCAD, into the computer. I could put some waypoints. So waypoints number 1, maybe it's a boulder. So I was just pressing the button, and then on the piece of paper, I just wrote 1 boulder, 2 crossing, and so on. And then things improved, but not for the tablet thing, just to carry less weight. Of course. Oh, I keep on talking anyway. So my search for having to carry less weight was important. Because I don't drive, I just use public transportation, as someone of you know. Many of you know. Oh, it's crazy how many people gave me lifts, even in this room. So I found something. Just remember the pictures, because now things are changing. So notebooks came out, so I bought a smaller laptop to bring it with me on the survey trips. The scanner, this was great. It's not an A4 or letter scanner, but it's a small scanner with the sheet goes inside and slides in. That was great. I didn't use it that much because then I changed, but I was so happy about it. I found myself using that in a hostel in London. I remember that, put it on the floor and scanner there, or in a train in Italy. That was very handy. Then what changed? Nothing here. Always Mylar and paper. I just bought a new GPS. It's a better one. The other one was another model. What I found out is there's not that big difference between GPS chipset. The price in GPS, my experience is that what they give you for like display or functions like altimeter or pressure, I don't know, color maps and so on. But for me, for recording, I just want to record my track. It's not so much better than the other one that I had. And these are handheld GPS for people walking, hikers. Okay, so it can cost, I don't know, $200, $300. Actually, it's a waste of money because, well, I show you already now. Now it's what I'm using now. It's just a chipset. It's small box that I put on my hat. Not very stylish, but it works. I don't have a better solution for now. So this is just 25 euros and make the same. Maybe it's even better than GPS, the Garmin e-Trax, Vista. I don't remember. It just needs to record where you go. Okay, let's go ahead. Next step. The next step is a big step. And so the setting before my actual setting. This is the setting I used. Oh no, maybe there's something that I want to tell you. Yeah, you see the pencil. I lost so many pencils in my life. I had 3. I just used the green and put it back. I used the blue and put it back. And now, where is it gone? Okay. I lost so much time looking for pencils backwards in the grass. Of course, well, I'm just losing time. Sorry, I'm wasting time. But the green pencil just is in the grass. The brown pencil is in the forest when there's a lot of branches. And I'm also colorblind, so very difficult. So one day I met, always in Canada, things happen in Canada. I met fellow Italian mapper, Marcello Prodel, that you maybe know because he made a middle map of the Canadians in the Maritimes now, the lakes map. And he told me, I use a string. Wow, it's not stupid. So I attach my 3 pencils on a long string and then just put 1 pencil. And then when I just can release it and it doesn't go lost. So this is one of my first tweaks into technology. Okay, and then the tablet setting. So this was my setting before, one month ago with this small tablet, 2 batteries, because you need a lot of power to stay all day in the forest. This small tablet goes with this keyboard. So when I had my hiking trip, my mapping trips, I just put just bring one machine, just this tablet. Outside in the forest, I use like that. And when I come back home, I attach the keyboard, the mouse, whatever I want. And if I'm lucky to find a big screen, good. Otherwise, I've been doing maps like just with a 7-inch tablet, even at home like a desktop. It's a bit small, but you can make it. Okay, let's go back. So it's since 2013 that I started with tablet mapping. There was some Portuguese guys, mappers, Tiago Aires and Raquel Costa, who told me they did it since a couple of years or even more. I couldn't believe that you could go with a tablet in the forest, but they explained it that it was so good. And the problem was I couldn't find the machine. But then after some months, I found one. And then I tell you, what's the search, what's involved in the search for a tablet. Just to see how I work now. This is a new machine that I bought here, a very good bargain. I'm so happy about it. It's a rug tablet. The rug tablet is different from the other tablet because it's meant to work outside. So for military reasons or for something, it's made to work outside. Usually they cost thousands of euros or dollars, and this is a very good bargain that I found here. I couldn't believe it. I just spent $50. I can't. Well, it's crazy, but anyway, I bought the 3rd unit. Yeah, it came to Kitty's house yesterday. So this is the tablet that I bring in the forest. I run Windows 7 or Windows XP or whatever Windows. It has a 7-inch screen. I linked the computer to the GPS that I carry exactly like this with a Bluetooth connection. So this is communicating Bluetooth. And if you open OCAD and everything is set perfectly, you see a cross where you are, because the GPS tells you on the map where you are. And that's very, very good. Then, what have you got? Extra batteries, because usually batteries don't last all day. This is a very weird battery, but all the tablets has got some different exchange. So this is very good because you have 2, so you can swap them, you can replace them, and the machine stays on. So you don't have to turn it off. So you replace one, and then you replace the other. The first days I was wrong. I replaced 2, and then and then the machine turned off, of course. So you need batteries, otherwise you don't last all day. So you should put extra batteries. And it's tricky to put it back. What I I kept from the old setting is the compass. The compass is needed again. It's not replaced. I keep my compass as always, just like this. And at the end, the tablet works like a piece of paper. There's no difference. It's hard for me to show you, but anyway, I'm working and I'm looking that direction. I see a path there, so I put the compass. I put the tablet parallel to the needle, keeping it a bit far, not to have problems with, yeah, okay, here is bad, here is already good. I put it straight, leave the compass, and then I can draw the line. Exactly the same thing I did with the paper. There's no change. And now my setting is completed with the software. OCAD 9, I don't need OCAD 10 or OCAD 11. I don't want to do bad publicity to OCAD, but I learned to do all my stuff before OCAD 10 and OCAD 11. Oh, no, maybe. Okay. So everything was missing from OCAD 9. I learned it some other way with some other software, with some tricks. So when OCAD 10 and OCAD 11 came out, I really didn't need to spend $800 to have. So I'm using OCAD 9. OCAD 9 GPS function is always on. It's also on only on the Pro version. So if you have the standard version, you don't have the live GPS. You have the GPS you can import like before, like the handheld GPS, but you can't have the live. And the live makes a difference, of course, in my work schedule. Other softwares that I use, and then we'll see maybe, it's Global Mapper that deals with all the LiDAR and, yeah, basically LiDAR and projections and georeferencing. And SAS Planet is a nice Russian shareware that helps me to grab imagery from the web. So Google Maps, Nokia Maps, Bing Maps, and so on. So this is my gear. Well, maybe I can show you somehow. Well, it's not easy to show everyone. But what happens in the tablet is exactly what you see on the desktop version. So it's an OCAD that is very stuck, not responding. Because he wants the GPS that I have not now. Okay, so I have the same thing that I see on the desktop. The only different thing is the pen. So I don't have a mouse, but I have this. You have to learn a bit how to use it. But otherwise, I can just bring a symbol and I write and I draw. I think I can do everything that I can do on the desktop. It's just a bit slower and less accurate in the drawing, but then you fix things at home anyway. I use also a lot of keyboard at home, and here you don't have the keyboard. So what I'm doing, but this is the setting for this tablet. In the previous one that I used since 1 month ago, I had some buttons here, and I could configure them. And now I'm just using the keyboard like this. I just put the keyboard in a small angle here because I just need a couple of keyboard keys. And when I draw, it just fades away. I don't know if you see, but if I need it, I just go there. And good thing of these pens, this stylus, is it points things even before touching somehow. This is not, well, it's good for the keys here, but not for drawing, of course. For drawing, you have to drag. You don't need just to, it's sort of like on the mouse, you have to click, I think, click and drag. I don't remember because it's automatic, but I think you have to click and drag. And usually I just use the function 10 keyboard key, that is to hide the background map. I use a lot this function to hide or not hide background map. And I use the control and the shift. I think that's it. The shift to select multiple objects. Well, the control, I don't use maybe anymore. Control is just for following, in OCAD, to follow another object. But there's no need to be so accurate when you work in the forest or in town. And so you do accurate drawing at home. I can show you from here, but let's pretend that this is a tablet. Let's see what's afterward. Yeah, the pros. But before I want to show you something. No. I have to accept. I want to show you how I draw outdoor. I was yeah. This is the draw. Okay, this is what I wanted to show. So one of the maps I did here in Calgary, it's Pierce Estate, a place that I love more, I think. And this is just how to show what happens when I'm surveying. So this is the map that comes home after 1 day of survey, maybe. I just copied an old version. So this is what I draw. Oh, I don't come home with the map already finished. When I'm mapping, I try to spend less time possible in drawing. So I just have my symbols and my things that when I'm home, I'm sure that I cannot miss. Just like when we draw on the paper and pencil. So for instance, I can use this line to see this is a vegetation boundary, but I don't want this vegetation boundary on the final map. It's just to say here inside everything will be yellow. And the easiest way to this, I want yellow here, is just make a circle. This is my way to do it. Because the circle is very fast, and usually there are no features exactly rounded. So when I see a circle, I know that it's not a circle-shaped meadow, but it's just fill. I would like to have a paint option, like in Photoshop, but in a vector program, you can't have it. So, and that's it. Yeah. Yeah. No, I draw. Well, I draw by hand with Bezier curve. Yeah. Yeah. For the curves, I try to be accurate. Yeah. But then when I come home, I try to do it the same day or the day before, the morning before. It depends on my schedule. So I want to draw it as soon as possible to remember with my eyes what I saw. With this technique, with my setting, I think I could draw this even in a 1 year time, and I think it's fine. I won't make any big mistakes. But if I remember the place with my eyes, it's so much better. So if you have doubt, you remember, okay, that's it. Yeah, and I want to do it straight as soon as possible. Another interesting thing, sometimes I just copy the base map, even here, even outside. So the mapping is usual. I have a lot of tools. So I have the GPS, I have the base map underneath. I have still my paces and bearing if I want to use it. So I combine everything with this mix of techniques. One important thing that changed the way I work is the GPS thing. So first of all, just imagine we have a cross here. So if the map is well georeferenced, then we will see that. And if the GPS signal is good, okay, if I'm in the perfect situation, it tells me where I am on the map. So I have a cross here. I will have a cross here. So I can stand here. I know where I am and look things around. And I don't need to measure anymore because I just saw the other feature. I know where I am. So I'm standing here. And I just draw. I see a meadow. I know where it ends. And the cross tells me where I am. So I don't need to measure that if everything is OK, of course. And so I just can draw it. That's it. The dangerous thing with the GPS is you have to know when it's the signal is good or not. And this is hard to tell. Because if the signal is bad, maybe it can be wrong by 20 meters. And you don't realize everything goes bad. I found out that it's just my experience that tells me I can rely on the GPS. In this moment, I can rely on the GPS, or otherwise, and so I'm using the GPS very thoroughly. Otherwise, I'm not trusting that in that moment because I see something strange, maybe it moves, and so I'm not using that. And I just pace and bearing. But if I'm OK and everything is good, I use this method that is fantastic. I use, there's a missing line. No, OK. I make this one or two new symbols that is just a line, just a purple line. But I can record the GPS with that line. So what happens is if I have a trail, let's say a trail. Here it is. I just can walk on the trail. I push the start button, and the GPS records with that symbol. So I know that the purple thing is my GPS. So I walk exactly on the shape. Can be a trail, can be a meadow. This usually, if the GPS signal is good, I can do even very nice figures. It follows very, very well. And then I just leave it like here, or yeah, basically the path will be drawn at home. And if you see that this is the GPS, so a dot should be maybe 1 meter or even less. So every dot is a signal. I don't configure this width or length. It's just automatic, and it's fine. I'm OK with it. And then at home, I just draw it properly. Of course, it would be really bad to have the features with all those dots. Would be really bad. So GPS is a good way, but not. You have to draw everything by yourself. Okay, let's go back to the presentation slides. So why I tell you it's very good to have a tablet GPS mapping instead of old one. One thing that I didn't mention now is the multiple base maps. When we go outside in the forest with the paper and pencil, Mylar, we have to decide which base map to print. We just have one. We can have one. I used to have a combination of orthophoto and contours and whatever. But I just have this combination at home, make just one layer and print it and go there with just that one. And the orthophoto is very dark, and it's very difficult to be seen when you print it. It takes a lot of ink. If you print a lot, it's very expensive, and so you have to make it more lighter. I mean, it's it's a it's a big problem. Uh, Sometimes I need the orthophoto, sometimes I need the base map from the council, sometimes I need the contours that comes from LiDAR. So having the chance to have all these different base maps available is fantastic. So on the tablet, I have all of them with me. Let's see if I have it here. So for the Pierce Estate map, but every map is different. I mean, here I had the base map from the city, and then a lot of pictures. Google, the picture from the council, the Bing picture, and so I had also the old map, but I didn't use it. I just remapped the Pierce straight away. And so, you know, this function with the layers, I can turn on and turn off everything on the spot. So now I need the orthophoto, and I use it that one. In another area, maybe I need another orthophoto. So that is why it's good to have a lot of imagery in the same file. I just search for all of them available. I try to grab them. So maybe one picture is very old, and so you don't have a building, in a new building there. But maybe in that picture you have snow, so you see very well the shapes. So every picture can have one single area that is better than the other. Even if one is newer, can be worse than the other one because it's shady. I don't know. So I have all of them, and I just turn on and turn off, and that's great. It's really good. Yeah. Okay. So this is the Calgary base map that is very good, with a big effort from Don that gave me a lot of files and very good files, and this was perfect. I really had no problems at all. So you see a lot of it's already there. So for this map, I used basically this base map, and then sometimes with the function key, I just turn on and turn off. And then sometimes I use the pictures. Here, the big thing was the new river. The river is completely different. So maybe I think I used a lot of GPS in the when I didn't have a new map, a new picture. I don't know why. It's not easy to see, but maybe you remember how was the water here going this way with there were no locks, but yeah, water. Now it goes like here, completely different. And this is an island now. And I think in this area I didn't have good pictures, so I used the GPS just to track the new shore. Okay, so multiple base maps. GPS help, I already told you, is very powerful and very good to have it. The GPS is not always working perfectly. So as I told you, it's the experience that tells you when it's working good and when it's not. I noticed that the pine leaves are bad for GPS. So if you have a big forest with needles, it's worse. And of course, if you're in a big valley, it's worse because the signal doesn't come. In urban areas, it's not very good because of the buildings. Well, especially in a city like Calgary, if you are near the skyscraper. But in town, you never need a GPS. You have such a good base map. Usually, you have such good base map that you don't need the GPS. I use the GPS a lot anyway in towns because it helps me to bring better focus where am I? The focus of the OCAD window. So sometimes I just saw something and I draw something and I move the map and I go outside the map, and then to go back there's find, a button find, so it moves the focus exactly where I am. I use it a lot for this reason only. What else? For the GPS. So the good thing to do is follow a shape. I mean, there's a big meadow. I follow the edge. If I don't have a good picture, I follow the edge and I record this track. If when I come back to the starting point, if the shape that comes out from in the OCAD file is not close, so if it closes 20 meters away, that's a good sign not to use the GPS, because you don't know where it's gone wrong. There are problems in the signal, so I don't know. So this is my rule of thumb. If I can close myself an area, a rounded area more or less, and come back to the same point, that's perfect. Even if it's 5 meters wrong, I don't care. There's a limit that I don't know which is the limit, but we know maps that don't have to be perfect. If we have a map wrong by 5 meters in the forest, it means it's very accurate. I mean, no one will notice that, but it's my experience that tells me if I can trust the GPS or not. And then again, with the tablet, I save time, a lot of time for the drafting. So for drawing the map, when I had to copy everything, it took ages. So for, I try to make some numbers. For the forest, 6 hours in the forest could be 2 hours drawing at home, or even more. Now it's less than 1 hour, for sure. It's when you have a forest with not many details, but even if you have a lot of details, you did everything already in the forest. Very, very fast. When you have urban areas or a park like we see Peace Estate, and there's a lot of detail, a lot of features, 8 hours for the survey, I think was 5 or 6 hours at home, or even more. It was crazy to copy everything because there's so much detail. And now it's half of that. I mean, 8 hours can be 2 or 3, just smoothing things. No, it's fine. At the time that I save is all the process of printing the base map, taping that to the Mylar, and then scan. It's not so short time. It's a lot. It's maybe half an hour a day. It's a lot. Okay, so now can be more accurate because with GPS and the new base maps that we will see later, things are exactly at the correct place, and I save time. I'm faster in doing it. Not a big deal when I'm paid by the hour, but very good when I just give the price for the whole map, and it's up to me. If I save time, it's saved. I put some cons here for the tablet mapping that are not really cons, because you can deal with them and you can build procedures. You don't have problems at the end. But one important thing is the screen in the sunlight. So the first struggle I had with these tablets is like forest, no problem. But if you have an open area, and it happens a lot, I think more than half of my maps are open areas, urban areas. And if it's 11 to 4 p.m. And you don't have trees and few houses, you can't see the screen. Really, you really struggle. So you begin just to find every little shade. So you just go there with the shade, and it's not enough, and you just do like this, and you get your hunch like that. So I ended up working like this most of the time, and this was my problem. Yeah, main problem, and I try to find new machines to help avoid this. So the usual and normal tablets have all these problems. I don't think there's anything to do about it. The rack tablet, like this one, they are built to resist in the outdoor world. So they have a special screen that it doesn't reflect the sunlight. And this has got one of those, and it changed my mapping life. So you can not stay in the sun like this, but almost. Anyway, if you have forest maps, don't worry about having a rugged tablet. You can go with whatever you want. Then using the style, but the price is the difference, the big difference, of course. Tablets can be $100, $200, $300, and rug tablets, except this bargain, can be 1,000, 2,000, and so on. Didn't check. Actually, this was a bargain of the bargain. It was a sale week. So this is 30. But in US dollar. So yeah, eBay. I think there was just a company that didn't need them anymore, just sold them. This guy had those and sold them for $40. They had 20 or 30. Maybe there's some still left. I can send you the link, of course. If someone interested, send me an email. Then the other thing is the stylus. This comes with its own stylus, and it's perfect. Don't need to worry, no problem. But for the first tablet I had, yeah, there is some struggle. You have to learn to use it. At first, it's not easy to draw. First day, actually, I bought this. The other tablet I had was a Samsung Q1. It's an old tablet that running Windows. So the first day, I had problems with the sun, and I have problem with even the leaves are bad. Big trees can give you a lot of reflections. Okay, I couldn't see and I couldn't draw. So the first day I tried to use the tablet. I said, okay, I wasted my money. The other one was 200 euros. Not it was a big deal. But then you just need to have some practice. With practice, you learn to do both things: shade the sun and use the stylus. No. So before I have to do this and then. Okay. Other minor problems, but it's not, well, you have so many pros that these are not really cons. You work outside sometimes with the biggest zoom available. Sometimes I just, let's take a look. Which zoom I'm using? 16. Oh, it's a lot. So you tend to be too accurate. Well, I'm talking about the urban areas. Maybe in the forest, it's not that big. You know, OCAD use maximum 32 zoom. So having this chance to be micro accurate is very dangerous because maps are. This is a big problem of these years and the future years. Maps are too crowded already now. There's too many things. With these new technologies, people has improved the mapping styles, and they put everything. So it's bad. So maps are not readable anymore. You go to a competition and you can't read the map because there's too many things. And then you had to ask for a 10,000 instead of a 15,000 because it's not good. And then you had to ask for a 7.5 for the middle because the 10,000 is not enough anymore. So this is a threat to generalization. You must remember that and try not to overuse it. Of course, it's good to have it, all the light and all the stuff, but bear in mind that we don't want to. Oh, the problem is paper map must be readable. That's it. All this new technology, I think they must help us to have more accurate geography so that the things are exactly at the correct spot. And then we have to work on generalization a lot. I'm repeating that because when you start mapping, actually, it's 10 years now, but yeah, I feel just like a newcomer always. When you start, you want to put everything because it makes you more, I don't know the word. Yeah, oh, last time I found that. Yeah, confident, yeah. If you put everything, you feel more confident if you're not a good mapper. So if you put a lot of things, it makes you feel better because everything is okay. So we must remember not to do that. It's useful to put all the things at the right place, but then we have to remove it. And it's difficult to remove it. I'm trying to learn that. I think the last 2 years, almost made. I understand the way now, how to do it. Then another problem could be the weight. This is, I think, is 1 kilo, and it's bigger than the previous one. And so this is becoming to be heavy. So you have to be careful not to stay like all day like this, because otherwise the next day you don't work anymore. So you have to, well, maybe build your muscles here. First days I just try to put all my arm, and I have no problem. So now I'm just doing like this, sometimes like this. Changing is very good. I noticed that when I'm struggling, difficult areas, I'm very stiff. So that could be a problem for the muscles. And then power dependent, absolutely. I cannot work camping in a tent now because I need power. All the night, everything is connected, and I have to recharge all the batteries. So now I have 4 of those. So 2, when they okay, I have to remember to replace them, put the new ones, and plug again. I have to charge the GPS. I think there is a lithium battery here, just like mobiles. And here well, I don't know the cable now, but you just use a USB and plug it to the computer. And this is charging if the computer is on. If the computer is off and with the plug-in, it's not charging. So these are things to be, well, to know about them and try not to make mistakes, because if you don't remember to charge something, next day you can't work. And well, also you have to remember to bring with you the extra batteries. And now that I'm using 2 computers now. Since last setting, I use just the tablet in my mapping trips and put the keyboard, and that's it, 1 machine. Now I'm using 2 because, well, this is new. So anyway, now I'm using this 2 as a desktop, and this is in the forest because now they're so light, and this is also a detachable screen. So if my other machine goes bad, I can use this. I use it as a backup. Anyway, now that I have 2, I have to remember to synchronize files. All these things together, it's tricky. I have to be focused when I work, so not to make stupid things. If I don't synchronize files, I'll be working all evening on this one, and then the next day I go to the forest with the other one, and you don't have the new things. and you can't work because, especially if it's an update of a map, you can't. What should you do? If you have a new map, you can just start working on another area and then you join them. No problem at all. With the georeferencing, joining maps, it's so easy. There's no problem. Oh, 7. Slide 7. There's so many more. What did I? Oh. No. So many things to say. Say again? Oh. Thanks. Okay, some words on the tablet. If you use OCAD, you need Windows. That's no other way to run OCAD. You can run it on a Mac with a virtual machine, but I don't know about Mac tablets. I have no idea if you can work in the forest with a Mac with the virtual machine and OCAD on it. And that's the problem now. OCAD is $800. That it's a lot if you are mapping for your club or not professional mapper. But now, of course, the alternative, the big thing from the last 2 years is Open Orienteering Mapper. That is this new software from these German guys, and it's a shared software. A lot of people work on it and add new pieces, and it is free. So I'm talking about OCAD because I bought the license when I started, and now if I have to change the way to work, it's a mess. But of course, if you're starting, there's no need to have OCAD. Why? Open Orienteering Mapper is fresher, it's younger, the interface is better, and it's free. And goes on Windows, goes on Mac, goes on Android, everywhere. So before finding the bargain, I was on the edge of changing because I had this old Samsung that is already 2 years old, I think. They don't produce that anymore. And I need Windows on a tablet. So I say, oh, if this is broken, well, what should I do? I can't find another one. And so I began to try to use Open Orienteering Mapper on Android tablet. So the $100 Android tablet, very cheap. You find it everywhere, even at the supermarket. You can find it. So I said, if my computer got broken while I'm away on a mapping trip, I just go on a supermarket, buy a tablet, Android tablet, and use Open Orienteering Mapper. So I tried just to learn how to do it. And I had time at home this winter, and I did some. They asked me a map for free, and I said, "Why should I?" And then I said, "Okay, your friends. It's very small, and I use it as a training." So I did this map with the Open Orienteering Mapper with a crap Android tablet, and it works. You can make it, no problem. Yeah, there are some problems, but I mean, instead of having 1,000 euros for a rug tablet and 800 for OCAD, it worked. My main problems were, well, the screen. The new tablets are even more bright. I don't know. Well, if you see the mobile in the sun, you can't see your WhatsApp messages because it's bright, and so it's hard to use that. And the stylus. The stylus is the worst thing, because all these Android new things are touch screens. So they are meant to work with your fingers. And not easy to find the proper stylus. I try with the bulk one, the cheapest one, the very stupid one. And it's big. The tip is very big. You used to have an accurate drawing, and so this is a problem. But I stopped searching, and because I came back to OCAD and I had no problem. But now, don't tell me that with this simple, that it's a bit lighter. Maybe his finger is lighter than mine. His hand is more artistic, and he can use that with Open Orienteering Mapper without problems. So just when I did that map with the bulk stylus, at the end I tried, okay, let's try with my finger. It makes no sense, and was the same level of accuracy with my finger. So if you're in trouble, you don't have anything, you can try with your finger. So as this is I'm sharing my gear, my experience with people from a club, not professional mappers. I think this is the way, open orienteer mapper with anything else. And then I thought going Android, and so open orienteer mapper to have an easy way to find tablets. But then now with Windows 8, everything a bit changed, because there are cheap tablets even with Windows 8. So until a couple of years ago, it was really hard to find a cheap tablet with Windows, so running OCAD. But now that's fine. So I will stick on OCAD, I think. But now I have my 3 units for the future. I'm okay. But for you, maybe it's a good choice. So GPS. If you use the tablet and you just connect GPS to the tablet, there's no need to have a handheld GPS. It's just a unit like this, a small box. I searched on the email because I didn't remember the price. It was really so cheap, 25 euros in November 2012. And the accuracy is okay. I mean, sometimes could be too. It doesn't tell me the accuracy in meters, but I see on the small screen it says always 7-8 satellites in view, and I'm happy with this. I could spend more to have a more accurate, but I have no experience. I know there are chipsets, GPS chipsets, very good, that cost a lot, but from my experience and other mappers or forums, Facebook groups, everything else, I don't know about. I would like to have a 100 euros chipset that is a more powerful and more accurate than that, but I couldn't find it. But for now, for all my last 2-3 years mapping, this is enough. Yeah, Holix M1000. I think I chose the brand just looking online. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of discussions, and I think I found out that I'm using the same as Eric, the guy who's staying in Whistler last year, because I think I saw his post somewhere. So that's how things go. So about the screen, another thing that I want to tell you, there are different screens. The touch screen, the one that you use with the fingers, it's a capacitive screen. Other old tablets had the resistive screen. Was much better because you push on the screen to make things go. So it just you can use also a pencil, a pen without the ink. I mean, just something sharp. With the capacitive, with the resistive screen, you just need to push. And this was what I used on the last tablet. But they're not producing any more tablets with resistive screen, and that was very good. And the capacitive screen with the touch screen, you need the proper stylus like the one done. Sure. Otherwise, or use your finger. The good thing with this new rugged, it's got this stylus that's already in, and it's plastic, and it works very good. And that's it. On my previous tablet, the one that you had to push to draw, I found out soon, but I didn't know before, that every little shape, everything I did, it was a scratch on the screen. And I found out after the first week using that, it was already bad. After a lot of scratches, the screen gets whiter, more opaque, and it gets worse in the sun. So, but then that computer broke, so I had to buy another one. I found the same brand, unbelievable. And from then on, I put some screens, some plastic protection. Yeah, the ones that they sell for the tablets with one sticky side. And after 2 or 3 weeks of heavy drafting, I just replaced the thing. What happened the first week here? I was using the old one. I had a new. I said, okay. Today I start a new screen, new plastic screen. It was a new brand I never tried. Okay, I went in the park. I was Scarborough. No, maybe it was River Park. I don't remember. And it was different fabric. I don't know. A mirror. I could see myself, and nothing. I could see nothing. So that was a bad day. I had to finish. There's another option for mobile tablet mapping. That is with those Windows phone software, and with this software called MoMap. It's a Swedish software, but it's expensive. And I want just to mention this because to show you the screen size is not a big deal. The smallest screen size is the better, I think. I'm okay working with this 7-inch, and to me is a perfect, just because I'm used to it, and that's it. But there are some people like this Eric Sundberg from Sweden that I met last year in Whistler that is using a mobile phone with this software. So I don't remember how big, but I mean, something like this. It's an old mobile, not a touch screen. So it's a resistive screen, and you use a small pencil, stylus, or whatever. And he said it can work good, no problem with the screen size. That's to tell you that 7 is fine. You can try less. Having 8 inches or 10 inches is just a waste of weight. There's no need to have it. Of course, if you have that tablet and you don't want to buy a new one, okay, that's fine. But from my experience, you have all the space, enough room to do whatever you want here. And Jane was a nice joke about the glasses. Yeah, it was really nice. But using the tablet, I don't need glasses. So there's so much zoom, and you don't need even. I need glasses for the paper maps now for orienteering competition, but not for working here. Maybe I know where are the keys, so I go just by memory there. Oh. Okay. I think for a gear is enough. Let's see something a bit more difficult, but it's very important if you want to have a map on a tablet. So georeferencing is, without georeferencing, you can't use a map with the tablet. Yeah, you could use maybe a GPS without anything else. If you want to mix a lot of base map, what I'm doing now, so trying to get more info available and put them all together, georeferencing is very important. It's fundamentale. So georeferencing is I never studied this thing, so I learned it just by mapping. So I hope not to say stupid things, and I hope to be clear enough. It's given a reference, a number to a point of the map. So this point on the map has got some coordinates. This east and this is north. This is georeferencing, basically. If we have a lot of base map and a lot of OCAD files that are georeferenced, you can combine them together very easily. Just import, and they go at the correct place without problems. But you have to prepare the georeferencing, and it's not that easy. I'm looking at Dom. We made a lot of tricks for georeferencing the the Calgary base maps. For instance, some of you have already seen my mashup of the 4 maps I did in the first month here. I was so happy to have finished, accomplished this, that I tried and did this souvenir. And doing this is so easy with the reference map. So you open one file, and then you import all the other. Just import here, import here. It goes out the wrong place, at the correct place. If you have never seen it, with file import, you just import notepad file, and this is the window. So if you use real world coordinates, it just brings the geography from one file and put it together. So this is the way to combine them. All the rest, well, it's not important now, but just to tell you, this is a good way also to split files. When I work, well, I like to work alone, but sometimes I work with people, other mappers, and you have to split the map. So you can just draw a line, make it 2 partial maps. If you have to update maybe an old map, you are 2 people. You just draw a line, export 2 partial maps of the 2 areas, and the 2 people can work on their file without problems. And then again, you can join them with this import function, and they go back. To do the partial map, you can draw one rectangle and do just extras, partial maps, use selected object, and then you have OCAD file just with the inside. And then you move, you make another window, and so on. Hello. Hi guys, I explain my gear. I show how I work with a tablet and GPS and things, so the main thing. And now I'm moving to the georeferencing and LiDAR things. So georeferencing means giving a number to a point on a map. There are 2 main subjects in georeferencing. There are projection and datum. It's not that big deal to understand very well what are these 2 things. But every time you want to georeference a map in OCAD, you have to know these 2 things. At least that there are things that are called projection and things that are called datum. So projection, the representation on a plane surface of any part of the surface of the Earth, is the way we split on a plane the rounded Earth. So we are on a rounded Earth, but our maps are flat. So somehow you have to squeeze it. I don't know. Well, so there are many techniques to do that. In the history, there have been many techniques. So there are a lot of names. This projection, well, and again, this is a technique to split the map, the sphere on a flat surface, and then there's the datum. The datum is a mathematical model that tells you how is the shape of the Earth. The Earth can be called ellipsoid, geoid. There are many mathematical models that tells a different shape. Everyone has got a different shape of the Earth. They are modeled because it's not a sphere. It's not. So there are a lot of models. We have just to remember names. There are a lot of names of projections and a lot of names of datums. To make sure that the map is correctly georeferenced, we have to know which projection has been used and which datum has been used. Not just the projection, it's important also the datum. I found some differences in if I use the correct projection and I use the wrong datum, it's a problem. We are going in deep areas, and maybe in OCAD you can do a lot about that. I'm using other programs that help me to fit all the various projections together. If I have one base map in one projection and one base map in another projection, I translate somehow and then I put it back together. I'm not good to explain that, but just you have to know this stuff. So projections, flattening the Earth. Not working. Oh, okay. So no. Okay. It wasn't offline. I wasn't lying anyway. So I tried to save a web page, but the pictures are gone. I thought it was local, but it was online. But just to tell you, there are so many projections. You know, maybe the normal projection you see at school on a flat board. That's a Mercator projection. But maybe you know that the shapes, the areas are so wrong in that projection. So there are hundreds of projections in the world. Every mathematician created his own projection to preserve something. So Mercator projection preserves distances somehow, angles. Other projection keep correct area. So there are new projections showing the world. I think you've seen it, with the correct size of the countries. So Greenland is not as huge as Africa and so on. So many projections. One of the most used projections is UTM, that is worldwide projection. There are zones. Every area has got its own zone. We are here in UTM 11 North. BC is UTM 10, and so on. Changing the number, it changes the place in the world. There are also local projections. Because flattening this sphere creates a problem. If you do it locally, you just need maybe some model that it's easier. You don't need to have it preserve all the angles of the world. So there are local projections that they work better on a local scale. The other projection here is a 3TM. So when you get a base map and you want to put it georeference, you have to know which projection you're using. And then correctly in OCAD, Open Orienteer Mapper, to set the correct projection. In Italy, we use Gauss-Boaga, and there's another local, very local, because it's a region in Italy that, I mean, it's very small. Because Gauss-Boaga was in two zones. So West Zone and East Zone, and Emilia-Romagna has got its territory is in both zones. So they decided to create a new one. So they call it UTER, something like that. So many projections. There are also many datums, but these are the most used datum. So AD50, NAD 83, WGS 84. Maybe this means nothing to you, but anyway, when you have a base map, you have to ask which projection and which datum, and then we put those data in, let's say, OCAD. But it's not that easy because in OCAD, it's not configurable, this information. So they have a list. I don't know if you have seen it, but we will see it now. So in the coordinate system that is here in the scale, OCAD 9, option scales, you have the coordinate system. This map is georeferenced because I told the map that these two values are the start of the map. I didn't tell, it's not me that told that. It just there are ways to do it. But anyway, and if you import a georeference map, it goes automatically like that. But the important thing to use the GPS, that's the important thing. If you want to use the GPS, this must be correct. Otherwise, when you turn on the GPS and you're in the field, GPS thinks to be in BC and not here. If you put the UTM zone 10, for instance, or if you put south, it thinks to be in South America or what. Anyway, this is the window that OCAD uses to tell you used to tell the georeferencing. So you have a list here. It's a very small list. So maybe this is not the most up-to-date version of OCAD 9 because I can't I can't put it on my Windows 8. I don't know why, the newest. So I have to stick with the old version. Doesn't work. So there are some locals and the UTM. The UTM, let's say it works for everywhere, so you can use the UTM. And then choose which zone here. So we are 11 now. The datum, it's written here, it's fixed. You can't change it. So if you have a map that is UTM 11, but another datum, you can't say here, you can't change it. So I'm not expert in this, but I noticed that if the datum is wrong, sometimes I have 10 meters problems somehow. And so 10 meters problem in the base map, it's a big deal for me because I don't know anymore if the GPS is wrong or the base map is wrong. So if I'm sure the base map is perfect, I can say, okay, the GPS now has a good signal, I'm using it. No, the GPS now is bad. I trust the base map. But if the base map is wrong, or I don't know, it's a mess. I don't know what to rely, and so it's hard. You just have to, hope that they give you a proper map georeference in a proper way. My solution is to use global mapper, but this is going to be very technical. So I use this other software, maybe here. And here you can put whatever you want. There are, this is also to show you some other base maps. I'm loading the file that I used for London. But I didn't want to show you this. Don't look at it. No, it's so beautiful to see that. So here I have the projections from this other global map program. You see difference? So I have a lot of them. And I have also all the datums, a lot of them. If this is not enough, for instance, for that Emilia-Romagna thing, I couldn't use OCAD because there's no Emilia-Romagna setting there. So I can just create a new projection. So I found out on the web the coordinates. There are a lot of, here you can see, a lot of factors, central meridian, origin, fault listing. You find on the web the correct data for that projection and that datum. I put a small file and I load it here and I create my projection. But this is tough, here I can translate any projection into another projection. So I bring here everything I receive. I transform it in UTM 11, the WGS 84, and I put it in OCAD. And I know the OCAD is happy with this UTM zone 11 and WGS 84. And I think for this is enough because it's difficult and I can't explain it very well. In Open Orienteering Mapper, that I'm not very expert of, but there's a lot of possibilities to configure. I don't know if everything done, even the datum. Okay. Okay. But can you put a 3TM on a global mapper? I don't remember. Okay, you have to tweak it in UTM. Just to show you how basemap can be, basemaps can be two big families: raster basemap and vector basemap. Raster and vector are two ways to store information for one picture, one graphic file. So the raster files are the ones, I don't know if you use Paint, the easiest programs to draw something on the computer, or even Photoshop. So if you draw a line in Paint or Photoshop, how is that line stored? If you zoom, you see it's made of pixels. So there's a lot of white pixel. You draw a black line, and you zoom in, you see a lot of black pixels. And then on the edge, there will be some gray pixels if you zoom a lot. So the line in the raster files is just a collection of pixels. There are a lot of raster files. There are JPEG, GIF, bitmap. And the most important for the base maps is the geotiff, the TIFF and the geotiff. So usually that is a picture. So the photo town gives you the photo of the area, or a base map like pavement edges, houses, and so on. If you zoom a lot, you see a lot of pixels, and you can bring it in OCAD. You know, well, this is what you do if you scan something. Maybe I don't even show you. It's just background map. It used to be called template. So you open a background map, you put it in OCAD. You have to know the resolution and the scale. Not very happy faces. So, okay. Anyway, this is the old way. You put you scan your board, you know the scale, you know which resolution you scanned it, so 200 dpi or 300 dpi, and you open it. Oh, I show you. You're not expert on that. So background map, open. I made copies of the files. I'm not. I'm very jealous of the original files. Yeah. Of course, I don't have anything. Yeah, this one. So anything I open that is not georeferenced, this is what OCAD asked me: the resolution and the scale. So if you bring something from the city council, they have to tell you which scale and which resolution. If you scan your board when you've been outside in the forest, you just know you scanned the 200 dpi, and you know the scale because it's the scale you printed the base map. And so you put this here, and that's it. And then you move it, you know, with F9, you adjust the map, the background to the map. But I'm not talking about old style. So it's a very good thing that also, I don't know why I lose it sometimes. There are some raster maps that are already georeferenced. So this is the best options for us if you're on, we don't want to deal with projections, datums, and so on. So for instance, the pictures from the city of Calgary, they are geotiffs. So it means that you go online on the, how is that called? City Online. There's a lot of stuff paying and a lot of stuff not paying. The August 2013 pictures, until then, everything is free, aerial pictures. And you can download every section of the city, and you have these TIFF files. They are just pictures. The good thing is, together with the TIFF file, you have also this TFW. That is, TF stands for TIFF, and W for world. So this can be in any other file. So JPEG would be JPW, or I don't know if it's possible, GFW. Anyway, the W means this is world, this is georeference. So if you have those two files together in the same folder, and I don't think I prepared that, but I can try. It's a raster, so we open always like background map. No, but I don't have it because I changed the, I changed the, but I can try with something. Yeah, I can try. Dawn folder, very precious. What, the photo? No. Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah. Okay, I think this is a TIFF file that we downloaded, and in the same folder we don't see here because it's another extension. We have the TFW. If we have that, and I hope so, I open that. Okay, you see it's another window. It's not asking resolution and scale anymore because this is already georeference. If we don't have the TFW file, it's a small file with just some numbers inside. If we don't have it in the same folder, this doesn't come out and we lose the georeferencing. So what's the thing? Very easy. If the OCAD file is already georeferenced, he has to fit in the already georeferenced. If there's nothing, he just proposes us some numbers, and we just say OK. Now it's not correct, but anyway, I open it. No, I should have done. No, I don't think it worked. Well, I can. Sorry. Okay, I opened. That's interesting to me. I tried to put on a OCAD map that is georeferenced in UTM. I imported. I put as a background an orthophoto, a photo that is georeferenced in 3TM, the other projection, 3 Kansas Mercator, the other Alberta projection, and so it doesn't come out. So if I had a blank file with 0 here, there's no georeferencing, and I import the same thing. He asked me if I want this. It's fine. So this can be maybe the most useful thing you learned tonight. Okay. Now in options, you see the picture. It's it's previously state, and you see here that automatically it just put the correct coordinates. Now we must tell him which grid, which coordinate system. So now he's got some numbers. OCAD has got a grid with numbers. We must tell him which number, which projection. If we had the 3TM here, it would be very easy. You put 3TM and everything works. But you can't do it. So I don't know if there's a way. Well, in open orienteer map. Well, there are a lot of ways. Yeah. Yeah, how can you use the GPS in OCAD with the wrong, if you don't have 3TM? Okay. Well, you have to think about it to find out a solution. No, I'm just trying to think it can be useful for some reason, but it for you, but now it's not. So anyway, this is a reference map, and you don't need to think about the scale or the resolution. This is okay, and can be a good base map even if you don't use GPS. Can be a very good map. I mean, I've been running in Nose Hill. Is that the name? The big map? Okay. Just someone of you can just download all these from the council's website, have it here, and just redraw the map at home, maybe, because you can see all the vegetation and all the trails that are missing from the actual map because it's so old. So this is half of the way. So no GPS mapping, but just using new way of base maps. Okay, this was raster. The other format of base maps and pictures is the vector format. So if we draw a line in Photoshop and Paint, I told you about the pixel thing. It's a lot of pixels together. If we draw in OCAD, they are not pixels. It's just a line. So the line is stored as information, like I think they just somewhere it's written where is this corner and where is the other corner. That's it. So this is the way it's stored information. It's not a white pixel and a black pixel. So if we have vector base maps, we can import them in OCAD, and maybe we don't have to draw a lot of things. So if we have houses in vector format, we import the file. We have it here. Let me see if I have. We didn't have houses for here, but I made up some tweaks to have them. So I don't know if I can find. River Park, maybe. House. Oh, but it was not OCAD file anyway. Well, something like that. I mean, if you have a vector base map, someone gives you buildings, you just import it like this. And if the original vector file is referenced in the same projection and data, it goes on the perfect. Now it comes like already with a symbol because it was from OCAD. But usually in other formats, it comes just like a gray area, just the border of the gray area, and it's some unsymbolized symbol, and then you can choose your symbol and like this. Yeah, symbol number 0. You change it to symbol number. Well, I mean this anyway is phase OCAD. Which are, I just give you the extensions of the vector file. So if you see these files, these are important, these are very good. Especially, I used just, I mean, if I bring houses for the urban areas, even in the forest, I just transform the symbol. I just bring the shape they give me, and I say, these are houses. That's it. And I don't draw the houses anymore. I don't copy the houses. If I have the same map in a raster format, then in OCAD, I have to copy every single shape. But if I bring all the other things like roads, contours. If in some way they give me vector of all the other things, I want to redraw it anyway because it's different. The contours are never okay. I have always to redraw it, and I don't like the zigzag lines, and they are mathematical shapes, and I want something more smooth and that the eye recognize. So usually that's vector importing is important for the houses, basically. Even if I have a very good base maps in vector format, maybe I have a lot of pavement edges, a lot of urban things. At times there are so many that I can't keep them, all of them. So I just redraw. It's faster for me to redraw. Even if I have a vector, I could say that line is a pavement edge, but I redraw everything. But for the houses, I mean, here for Carbon and River Park, there are hundreds of houses. So, well, the option was living without houses, but I didn't like it. Okay, so these are the vector formats. DXF is the one that OCAD likes. Is a format from AutoCAD. The drawing file, DWG, is the main, and the DXF in an export file of the AutoCAD software. It's the main software for drawing vectors. The shape file, SHP, it's from, I think, S3, some GIS, and sometimes houses and a lot of urban things comes in shapefile. But OCAD doesn't like it. OCAD 9. I don't know future OCAD 10, OCAD 11. Okay. Okay, so the future releases anyway. OCAD, OCAD 10 or OCAD 11 or no? Okay, not the standard. Oh. Okay. Yeah, no. You know, PDF files, a lot of base maps can be given in PDF. They look like raster, but sometimes they are vector. So if you try to import them, you can put them as a background map in OCAD. It's just GIF, JPEG, bitmap, so things like that. But you maybe can convert the PDF in a JPEG and then put it back. But sometimes the PDF is also a vector format. I mean, they create the PDF using a GIS, so they have the vector information on the PDF. Just try to import it in OCAD, like I did before. Import file. Sometimes it doesn't import anything. Sometimes imports all the vectors. So, and then you can choose what to do with the. And sometimes it just gets stuck. How it happened to us. Nothing happens because it's too big. The file is too big, and my machine is too slow. Haha, the north. Okay, there are 3 norths. And that's very important to have our maps on a correct angle. IOF wants us to have the maps with the magnetic north straight. So straight line is a magnetic north. But we have to deal, if we have a lot of base maps, to true north and grid north, not just magnetic north. One thing about magnetic north is IF wants that straight, so we have to put the maps, we have to make an effort to put the maps straight on the magnetic. It will be easier for us to have it on the grid or on the true north, because our base maps are in grid north or true north, but they weren't like that. I've seen a lot of maps in Sweden with the north arrows not straight. This is against IF, but they make it. And if you do it here, it would be good, very strange, because it's the magnetic angle here. It's very different from the true north. But if you don't know what I mean, I just have to show you something. Okay, true north is North Pole all the lines go to the North Pole. That is the North. The magnetic North, the one that is okay for our compasses, is somewhere near North Pole, but not in the same direction anyway. So we have some models that tells us in each area of the world which is the magnetic declination. So the difference between the true north and the compass. So that's very important for us, because if we find a base map in true north and we work like that, then we go to the competition and everything goes banana. Because, well, I've been very lucky, you see, because in Europe we have the 0 declination. So in these areas, the difference between true north and compass is ridiculous. 1 degree, you don't notice 1 degree in competition. Maybe when you do the map. No, I don't think so. North America is big. I mean, and here, this coast also, it's very big. So we are around 20 degrees. I think you noticed if you compare the orienteering map with Google, you see you can't recognize the shapes because they are all so different. So I like in Google is like this, on the map is like that. Okay, so we must know where am I, where the map is, this value of magnetic declination. There are a lot of websites that tells you the correct declination, but you have also to remember that the declination is changing. So this is the magnetic field of the Earth is not static. It changes every second. So you have to, well, this is the web link for the magnetic service in Canada. I don't remember what this meaning. Maybe don't remember. You remember that? Okay. So anyway, there are a lot of small software or website that tells you here. You put the coordinates, anything, longitude, latitude. Well, maybe. Yeah. This must work. Yeah, this works. Okay, this is the website where you can get this information. You just put the date you want. I usually, when I prepare a map, I just put some date in forward because the maps will be used later, not now. So then you put the latitude and longitude where you are. You have to find it. If you don't know how to find it, you can make a map. Use the Google, yeah. And then calculate. And then it tells you which is the angle between the true north and the compass. Just to show how things, that's very important for maps. So declination changes a lot. Okay, so this is the values of the declination in the centuries. It changes really a lot. So maybe in 10 years time, not important. But if we have an old map with an old base map that comes from the 80s and no one ever changed it and no one knew about this thing, maybe we have now a 5 degrees map wrong. Okay, so maybe you're more accurate about that, but well, we don't see it. In Italy, we've been in the last 30 years from -2 to +2, so nothing, or -1 +1. So we've been very lucky, but now it's changing. So okay, and that's the problem is how to move the map after some years. I don't have a solution now. You have to know all these things together and then think what's the best option to do. if rotate the map, or just in OCAD you can tell how much you want to rotate it, and so on. But we're halfway through, because okay, Nora, we know what it is. Magnetic north, I told you. There's also a grid north. No. Something's wrong. Okay. So the grid north. This is tricky. Okay, the grid is the projection. We have squares. The projection it's got these numbers. I know the OCAD files got this grid because we referenced it, and we know this is UTM 11, and we know the coordinates. And the grid of the base map in UTM are square. But the true north, the lines of the true north are not parallel. Well, we think because we see the map and they are parallel. But you know, they converge on the North Pole. So there's some small direction. So these are zones of the UTM, the UTM 11, let's say. In the central meridian, this is perfect. So in the central meridian, one line at the middle of the map, it goes straight to the North Pole. But at the sides, our grid is parallel, but the north just converge a bit. So there must be some 1-2 degrees. I don't know. I think, from my experience, that is the maximum at the sides of the grid. So if we are on the border between UTM 10 and UTM 11, it would be worse than in the middle of UTM 11 zone. Now I don't know where it is, but it should be. If we move to Cranbrook, it will be Cranbrook is UTM 11. Yeah. Okay, so we are near UTM 12. Okay, so here in Calgary we have a big grid difference between true north and grid north. So that's a bit complicated. Anyway, you should know this angle and compose all the things together to go back to this nice picture that I stole from Don again. We have the magnetic north that we want to have straight on the map. Let's say the UTM north and the true north. This is another projection, the 3TM projection. So we have to know this value and compose them together, and to understand which angle we want in OCAD. So usually we have a base map that is with a UTM grid. So we have this UTM grid. And we have to know this angle between UTM and magnetic north and just put it in OCAD. The way to know that, well, if you go back to the website, and you just click include grid declination, automatically it just calculates that for you. I don't have these things in Italy, so every time I have to calculate both, and you have to be careful because if you calculate that, you have to understand. Sometimes you have it's plus and sometimes minus, so it's very easy to have problems. But at the end of the day, I realized that having the magnetic north like this on the map is more accurate than going around and trying to find in the old way, which is north with the compass. They taught me to go on a path, a straight path, and put your compass and just take that as a reference. But there are so many magnetic fields, I'm not sure about the compass that I can't rely on that. So I prefer to calculate that, trying to be accurate and have it. So on OCAD, I have the correct north. And if you don't know where it is, it's always here. Okay. So here you can change the angle between your grid and the magnetic north and what you want to have straight. It's a bit complicated. You have to use the a lot and learn it on your skin. I don't know if it's a way to say in English, but okay, maybe we are near the end. Some words for the LiDAR, I think, are very important because this is the best base map we could have, and it helps a lot, even an amateur map maker, to have great maps. What's LiDAR? I was thinking today while surveying, oh, I don't know the acronym. I should find it out. So light detection, something. I don't remember. And ranging. Okay. What's LiDAR? A synonym is laser scan. Some countries use more laser scan than LiDAR. It's a way to build a very accurate base map. They put some sensor on a helicopter or something flying. They go on a terrain, and they just put down laser beams. Laser beams go down, go on the surface, on the houses, on the leaves, on the ground, come back, and the machine record this return. They do all these areas and bring all the data in their factories, and they produce a mathematical model of the terrain. And that's fantastic. So that's the best thing you could have. Then they produce some files. Those files, the simplest way is every square meter, they tell you which height is the ground. So you understand that having every meter this information, you have a mathematical model of the ground. It's perfect. And then with that data, we can build contours. We can build a picture that show the slopes, and we can bring all this stuff as a base map. I'll show you some examples. Well, I'll show you. No, I'll show you later. There are more things to tell you. And of course, there are a lot of softwares that can treat this LiDAR data. And we'll see them. These are the extension that you can find in LiDAR data. Someone has to provide the data, and you can find some ASCII or XYZ. So these are really plain text files, just like you can open them with Notepad. And they tell you exactly, in this location, the height on the ground is 1,000 meters. On this location is 1,000.5, and so on. It's just a grid of numbers. Another kind of LiDAR file is the LAS. I just used it recently for the first time. This is a better kind of LiDAR, and tells you also a classification of the ground. So it doesn't tell you just the height on the ground, but just it tells you also this is vegetation or this is something else. And then again, the last that I had from the Whistler. Oh, I have to give you something. The LiDAR from Whistler comes in TIFF file. So like the TIFF file we've seen before, like the picture. Like, yeah. So these three acronyms are important when you deal with LiDAR to understand which kind of data you've got. There's not a standard. They are sometimes used between them randomly, but just if you know what they mean, you can understand. So DEM is just a general word for digital elevation model. Some files that give you with the information about height, so contours or something. The digital terrain model is something related just to the ground. So if they give you a DTM, it's a ground surface without trees, without houses. And yeah, that's the main thing you can find. If they give you the DSM surface model, it's a model with everything. So everything the laser found. So trees and houses. If they can give me both, I bring both. So with the DTM, I can calculate contours because we want contours on the ground. With the DSM, I sort of have a picture from above. The DSM, with some software that can make it visible, it's just like a very nice picture. Better than the normal picture because this is mathematical. So actually it's straight. There's no shades. There's no clouds. So, and there's a lot of possibilities to treat the LiDAR. Of course, you need time to get practice. It's a bit complicated, but if you have time, you can learn everything. So OCAD, I think from OCAD 10, yeah, OCAD 10, OCAD 11, it's got the LiDAR import. But I never used that, so I don't know how it's working. I use the global mapper. But there are a lot of free things, free softwares around on the web. Basically from Scandinavia, a lot of people are working in the free time for these free applications. And we have this OAP that comes from Sweden. And I use it sometimes. They create contours, they create cliffs with the LiDAR data. They can do a lot of things. This is a crazy project. Kartapulautin comes from Finland. If you have the classification LiDAR, the one that tells you this is vegetation or not, you give the file to this program. It's not really a program, it's just a batch file. It's just a DOS window. You spend, I think, 10 or 20 hours for one single file. So you know, maybe 6 hours. You go to bed. And the next day, you have a sort of orienteering map already done. It's fantastic. They have competitions with these, well, trainings mostly with those maps. I show you now something. And this is the last one is Norway. So the 3 countries are building things. And I never use that. You can try all of them. If you find LiDAR data, this is a good way to play. I want to show you, yeah, something, some files. Okay, we can, I see here ASC. So this is an ASCII file. Sometimes it's called ASCII, sometimes ASC, sometimes XYZ. Okay, this is LiDAR. So, of course, you can't use that on the terrain during a survey. But just tell you how simple is an ASCII file. It tells you how many columns there are in the file. It's just a matrix. So this is the georeferencing in the corner, well, high left maybe. and this is the corner. So this is enough to tell you where you are in the world. And then the cell size is the number of meters that each cell. So this is very good data, because every half a meter I have a value. This is the no data value. That is, if you, maybe the sea, yeah, if you bring some water, this is the answer. And so this is the first height. So starting from here, 534500, from that point, the first cell is 3.56 meters on the height level. So then the next one is half a meter, and so on. Okay, not very useful here. But if you open in one of those programs, you see something like this. And it's amazing. This is London. And ladder is free in London, no, in UK, since 1st of September. Before was free for orienteering clubs and stuff like that. Now it's free for everyone. So this is, so I could use that as a base map already. So I could just put it on, print it or put it on my tablet, and I have buildings, even if I don't have another base map with buildings. And here I see the trees. And there's a lot of ways to play around with those files, because you see the information is here, and then you can show it and render it in many, many ways. All those, oh, this is a surface for sure. This is a surface model, because we see houses. If I had a terrain model, I could, for instance, here to draw contours. I show you just here, but everywhere is the same. In all the other software, there's a way. So generate contours. I tell which contour interval I want, and then I don't do it now because it makes no sense to have contours of the houses, and it takes time. But that's to show you, when they say LiDAR, it's not they give you just the contours. They give you a model with every square is on height. And then if you want to build the contours, you can decide to have the 5-meter contours. Up to you what you want to bring in your surveying tablet, or you can even print the contours and go back with the paper and Mylar. Sometimes I want 2.5 contours, like in the big maps. Yeah, it's like having normal 5 contours and then the one in between. But sometimes it's okay also having 1-meter contour, because you know, the main line, the 5-meter line, it's more or less fixed. Okay, you can move it, but then you can play a lot with the form lines. So inside these 5 meters, you can put whatever you want. The form lines, you can put it everywhere. So maybe having just a 2.5, it's not good enough, because there's a nice shape that is on the 4 meters contour. So sometimes I have 1 meter. The problem is if you have too many lines, then it's hard to read, even on the tablet. But then on the tablet, you can turn on and turn off. That's very good. I want to show you also the Finnish software, the output of that. And maybe some other things that I prepared. No, nothing here. Not here. So oh, here it is. Okay, I had this LiDAR data from Canmore. I gave that to that finished software, and after some hours, this is what it gets. Well, then knowing the place, it's not an orienteering map because there are, well, these are not rocks. But anyway, this is good. I mean, the yellow is real yellow. These are trails basically, and they decided to put a 5-meter contour, just like a normal orienteering map, and these form lines. It's not 2.5. It is where they see a nice shape. I don't remember. No, this is the classification file. So it's no more DSM or DTM. It's a LAS. No, this you have all the information in that last file. Yeah, correct. I don't know why. Yeah, there should be some green because they could recognize the height. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. Oh, maybe I had. Yeah. No, I can't see inside the last file. I just see the file and put it here. So I don't know. Yeah. Hi, John. And then I show you other, yeah, other rendering that I'm using for the Canmore map. Well, having this beautiful data is so frustrating to deal with the old map because, of course, you can't just trash it, and because it's so huge, and I am supposed to update that, and you have these things. So you see. Okay, here. I think this is another set of LiDAR. We have two, and I just put the, like rendering, I put the surface, and I created the contours with the terrain. So maybe I can show you. Yeah, these are generated contours, and these are 2.5. So I can use both. I can use the contours like my base map for contours, and this is not a picture, this is the LiDAR data. But you can see the trees almost, the road, where are we? Yeah, this is the parking, the small hill, and the buildings. You can see everything. And you can use that to track your trails, even at home. You can just copy those shapes. But I can do it live because this is very heavy to have it if you print it on a board because it's very dark with all the vegetation. But I can turn on and turn off as I show you. Where? Here? Here.
See the big building? That building, yeah, that building. Okay, just beyond that, in the field. That's just an empty field.
I think there are people. Yeah, there's nothing there. Yeah. No, I don't know. Something. Yeah, it's a tent. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. There are definitely cars. Yeah. Okay, avian LiDAR is very big thing because the trails are perfect. you know that all the traits are perfect, so the map maker can have mistakes just in this area. And when the area is small, there's no mistake, because even if you are wrong for 1, 2 degrees, the competitor is not good. The old maps done by hand with no base map can have very big stretches, 20 meters, 30 meters problems, and we never know, because just we say, oh, I felt strange running in that area, but it's my fault. Yeah. What can I show you about LiDAR? Wow. Yeah, just advice. When you have so many contour lines, doesn't mean you have to put them all on the map. Generalization. So we have this fantastic data, but we have to use our mind to just use the sometimes the form lines. That's the main thing. The form lines just when we need it. If we have two parallel contours, we don't need to put an extra one in the middle. But you know, when you have so many things, it's hard to resist, and you want to put everything. But that's I keep saying just to remember me. But there are also some crusades in Europe. I don't know if you follow in social things. There are people just going ahead with this generalization thing, and every time someone make a bad map, they publish it, say, "Oh, look." And the Finnish say, "Oh, the Swedish are doing this can't way to map." It's every time they see a corner, they put a contour form lines. So maybe you notice if you've been at Ringen, there are two form lines in the same between two normal lines, two normal contours. They put two, sometimes three. They're getting crazy about that. So there are a lot of styles, and this crusade against them. It's forbidden. You should. IUF says that you should use just one. So last slide, I think. Yeah, I'm using a lot this program that I found on endless searches on the web. SAS Planet is in Russia. Well, the website is in Russian. The program, I think, is also in English, and it's fantastic because you can grab from various online sources: Google, Bing, Nokia, Yahoo. These are the sources that I usually use. Imagery, and it's georeference. It's already georeference. So that's great. I mean, it would be better to have the city of Calgary orthophoto in your OCAD file. But if you can't have that because of projection problems, you can have all of those. And as I said before, you can bring all of them. And then you decide this area is better Google, that area is better Bing, and so on. I don't know if I can show you something on the actual software. I tried to use it yesterday to hope something stays in the cache, but I don't know. Wow. See how exotic. Okay, here is some imagery. This is Bing Maps, and you see how many? There's a lot that make no sense because there's a lot of Russian stuff, but I found out that with Yahoo, Bing, Nokia, and Google, I have a lot of things. So this is a Bing map, and maybe it's quite old. So let's see. I'm not sure it works. Well, it works. So this is a Google Maps, and it's newer because you have the bridge here, and you didn't have the bridge there. And then there's a way to tell export, which zoom, and which projection. So, and then you can have it I passed through Global Mapper before going to OCAD. I would be lost without Global Mapper. But I don't know, maybe there's a way to save it already here and have it in OCAD as a base map, already georeferenced. I think that's all. Yeah, I made it. Yeah, 2 hours and more. Oh, thanks. Well, question or nothing? Oh.
We're very appreciative of your time because it's very important that we do develop some mapping skills in Canada, and so we're very grateful for the time that you put to put this
Even if I can lose my job teaching to other people. Well, thank you.